Okay, now there's one thing that I really hate, and that is big companies that have little or no regard for their customers and basically just waste their time and mess them around. And I've been having a extended dispute with Parcel Force, or Parcel Farce as I like to call them. Now this has been going on for over a month now. I posted a package to the Netherlands, and in fact it's been going on so long I've actually written myself some notes here which I'm going to read from, because I want to make sure that I've got all the details, and I want Parcel Force to see this. I've already emailed Parcel Force, I've phoned Parcel Force multiple times and spent a stupid amount of time. I mean, it must be at least 14 hours in total on the phone, emailing, filling in forms and things like that. So obviously I'm not going to take 14 hours to explain this, but I just wanted to summarise, hopefully fairly quickly, what I've been going through, because I want people out there to see how arrogantly they've treated me as a customer for a very expensive item that I've been trying to get to the Netherlands, and they just don't seem to care. So here's the story. Okay, so on Saturday the 9th of January, I posted the parcel at my local post office. That all went fine, very helpful in the post office. And then on Monday, late afternoon, on the 11th, I had a call from Tom at the Exeter depot, and he was telling me that the item was too valuable for the express service which I'd paid for. It was my understanding that the camera the camera that I was sending to the Netherlands could be covered for compensation up to £2,500. That was on the paperwork, that's on the website. Now he told me that the compensation was actually only available up to €1,000, and I'd have to put it on the next service down, which was the priority service. So I was like, okay. He told me I need to buy another label and for the package, and I'd need to call another number and ask for a refund on the first label. Now bearing in mind that this has cost nearly £100 for this label in the first place, and I'm just going to have to pay that again for a second label. So I called another number, I was transferred to the retail team, and then they eventually transferred me back to the depot to buy a new label there instead. So I'd actually just gone around in a circle. Then I speak to Jonathan, who doesn't listen and interrupts me and just asks me for the package tracking number before I can explain the problem. Jonathan tells me I need to speak to Tom to buy a new label, and he will get him to call me back. No callback. I call back and speak to Darren, who then passes me to Tom, the original person that I spoke to, and he then makes me a new label eventually. So this is after about 2 hours already. Tom makes a new label and tells me the package should arrive in about 3 days' time. He says Thursday, so it's Monday. He says it should get there Thursday. Tuesday the 12th, I go to the post office and try and sort out a refund there for the original label, because obviously that's where I bought the postage for the package. They say I have to do it through Parcel Force. So then I fill in a claim form on the Parcel Force website, which then gives me an error when I press send, and it asks me to contact the site administrator if the problem persists. So what am I supposed to do with that? I call Parcel Force again, and I again speak to Darren. He tells me to post a printed form instead, but he doesn't know exactly where it is on the website, so we have to look for it together to find it. We find it eventually. I fill it in and post off my printed claim form to Parcel Force. Wednesday the 13th, I tell Tom at the Exeter depot that the compensation details the post office used are on the website still and in the printed booklet. So as I said, Tom said that when I'd sent it originally, I couldn't insure it for that much. I couldn't have compensation for that much, and I'd have to buy a new label. And I'd since then gone back to the website and seen that the website basically agrees with me, what I'd paid for, and it didn't really make sense that Tom was telling me otherwise. But he told me that his information is based on on an internal document, which is something obviously what I wouldn't have seen. So maybe there's been something new come out because of Brexit, but obviously they haven't bothered to update the website yet, and they're still handing out these printed booklets with Parcel Force's branding on it, which has got incorrect information according to this. So then I requested a call back from a manager at the Exeter depot. So a guy called Mike calls me back. Mike refuses a refund over the phone, despite Parcel Force already wasting many hours of my time. So they're quite happy to take my money for a new label, but they won't give me my money back over the phone. I have to go through either an online form, which doesn't work, or I have to fill in a form and post it and do it that way. So then next, Tom calls me back and tells me the post office should have received training on Brexit prices. So basically he's passing the buck. I email Parcel Force and give a lengthy complaint of the story so far. Then Monday the 18th, I receive an email from Parcel Force Claims saying, sorry, I've had problems with the website claims form, but I can post a printed form. I point out that I've already done that and that maybe they should go and find it. Tuesday the 19th, Parcel Force email me and tell me they have not received the printed claim form I posted them. I printed and filled out another claim form, scanned it and emailed it back. Tuesday the 26th, I call the Coventry hub to find out why my parcel is still there. I speak to Dipan, who tells me to call the international office number. I call the international office number and speak to a guy called Ian, and I tell him the whole story I've told numerous others by now. Ian tells me he's going to put a resolve inquiry on the system, supposedly so someone will take a look at the paperwork on the package to make sure it's right. My email address was taken at this time. Ian said a colleague will be in touch within the next 5 days. So then a few days pass, and Monday the 1st of February, no contact from anyone. So I call the international office again and speak to Catherine, and again I have to give the whole long story. Catherine said she'd had an internal email that the international hub for the next 10 days are not dealing with any internal inquiries, so they can catch up. So basically ignoring customers who've got problems like me. Catherine said she can't do anything about the refund, not my department. Tuesday the 2nd, I call the international office again, and this time I speak to Mary. Mary takes my phone number and I request the package now be returned to me instead of going to the Netherlands, because I'm thinking, well, by this time, I mean, what the heck is going on? So if it's still in the country, then surely there's a bit more control there, and it'd be better if it just comes back to my address and I can make alternative arrangements for the package to get to this person. I was told that someone would get back to me regarding what can be done. Thursday the 11th, I call the international office again and speak to Delphi and explain the story. She reads the notes and then says, I think someone called Ross has contacted us before on this. Well, yeah. That's me. So I reiterated I wanted the parcel sent back to me and nothing had happened. Delphi says she needs to send this request to her colleagues dealing with the inquiry. They should have already got that message on the 2nd. Okay, so about halfway through now. I asked for a call back in an hour from someone who would just do something. She wants to send a message to the inquiries team and then asks me for my name again. Thursday 11th still, I call the international office again and speak to another lady. I didn't catch her name. I'm told I will be put through to a lady called Angela, who is the person handling my case. Angela tells me she will try sending an inquiry to the international hub asking if the package can be returned. I underline the fact that she said try and point out the inquiry is likely to be ignored. Angela says, unfortunately, due to the high number of packages, they are not physically able to go and look for the parcel. Not able or not willing. I point out that it is my property and not Parcel Force's property, and they have had it a month. Angela says she will speak to a manager and ask them if there is anything else she can do. Friday the 12th of February. I call the international office again and speak to another lady, and she acknowledges I've already asked for a manager to call me. Angela is not available at the time. Monday the 15th. I call the international office again and speak to Mary. More notes added to the system. No manager has called me back regarding this. Mary then puts me through to Angela. She says she has raised it with her export managers but had nothing back. Angela then puts in a request for a manager to call me back. Tuesday the 16th. Finally, manager Lewis Dacey calls me back and tells me the international hub have replied. They say that they cannot locate the package in the building, so they've lost it. Lewis says there have been some scanning issues. There are apparently no parcels for the Netherlands on hand. The dispatch scan isn't transferring onto the system. And today I receive a message from the claims team who tell me for the second time that my claim has been rejected. The first time, as they call it, guarantee suspended. And the second time today, they tell me that we provide up-to-date information in relation to suspended services to the post office network. This information is also available on our website. So when I go to the post office to post a parcel, I should not be expected to look at a website first, as the post office should be telling me if the parcel will be a month late, and it is Parcel Force's responsibility to keep the post office up to date of expected significant delays. Secondly, how can Parcel Force have the cheek to charge full price for a 3-day service when they clearly can't deliver anything close to that? Thirdly, even if I had seen a message of delays, should I expect almost 5 weeks as a typical delay, and one that removes any responsibility for a refund from Parcel Force? So the above is mostly phone calls that I've been talking about, but there have been many hours that I've also put into writing emails and filling in forms online and filling in forms that I've printed out and posted, and it's just been an absolute mess. I can't believe that Parcel Force have just kept on passing the buck at every turn. They've put me on hold for ages. They've just basically given me very little or nothing in terms of information, and it's only now, nearly 5 weeks later, I've got any sorts of information, and I still don't know when this parcel's actually going to get there, and I still don't know whether I'm going to get a refund for both the labels that I had to pay for the package. I did get a refund for the first one eventually, but as I said, they've rejected the second one. Now, I shouldn't have to put in all of this, my own personal time, chasing this company that clearly can't provide this service, but they're still happy to charge for it, and they're still happy for me to waste all my time and have to call them back all the time because they can't be asked to call me. And I think that's pretty disgraceful service that they can do that. I think all I've wanted all along is just to be taken seriously, someone to actually look into the problem and try and give me some information. I don't mind waiting a while, but the fact is I haven't been given any information that's been useful until today, and for all I know, it could take like 3 extra months before it finally gets there. I mean, to give you an example, if I took my car to a garage, to a mechanic, to have a repair done on it, and the typical turnaround is maybe a day or two. Okay, you say, okay, great, right, here's my car, you take care of it, and I know it's only going to take a day or two. And then when you go back to go and collect it, the garage suddenly says, oh, I'm ever so sorry, being really busy, you know, it's really, really shocking, got so much going on, we've got this paperwork to deal with, we've got all these extra customers, we just can't handle it, so we're just going to need your car for a month. Well, you'd go crazy, wouldn't you? And I don't really see this as any different. I've paid for a service which should have been just a few days. I've paid the full price, I've not got a discount because there's been a delay, and Parcel Force they just don't seem to care. They're just like, well, tough, you know, we're busy, you're just going to have to wait. And now, you wouldn't do that if you went to a garage. You'd be disgusted. You'd be like riding to trading standards, you'd be making all sorts of complaints, you'd probably be suing them. So why should Parcel Force get away with this? So I just thought it was really important to make this video because I don't see why Parcel Force should get away with this disgusting behaviour towards their customers.